Hello everybody and welcome back to Emily's Upcycled Home. Please shop my items on Facebook Marketplace with the link in the description. Follow me on my business page for updates, reels, and new items. Like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell for more DIY videos. On today's video, we're going to be using the IOD Ginger and Spice new release molds, and we're going to go ahead and jump into project number 1. So I'm going to upcycle this little cutting board using those ginger and spice molds, and I just received these in the mail and I'm excited to use them. But first I'm going to show you, like, for your junk journalers or your tag makers, I keep my little scraps here of cardboard and I make tags out of them. And I'm just cutting out this gingerbread section here, bringing out my handy dandy little tag maker. And then I have a little tag here just to add in my junk journals, or you can add wherever you want. Now let's go ahead and jump into making the mold. Now I'm coming in with some IOD air dry clay, and I think I'm just going to use one little gingerbread here, the little guy mold here, and I'm going to put that down using some wood glue, and I'm going to put it in the edge here. Now this process was a long process for me. I didn't show you guys all the details in coming up with this because I made a big mess because my brain was not telling me what this piece needed to be, and this piece was not cooperating with what it wanted to be. So I had to go in and pull stuff off and pull stuff on, and then it worked out in the end, I think. So you guys let me know what you think here. But I'm just going to come in here very messily with this khaki color brown. And this is an oops paint I still have. So I'm trying to use up these paints that I have. So I'm going to come in very messily and add it to the board. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? But I'm going to come in next with the Antique White by Folk Art. And we're going to go ahead once again and very messy, go ahead and put that all over our board here. My words are not coming out today, you guys, but I'm going to come in with this scrap fabric from another project, and I'm just going to make like a little pocket here in the corner. And I printed out this recipe piece from Etsy, and it kind of just says grandma's recipe or something like that. And then I'm going to come in with this little candy cane mold from the same product, the same molding, and I'm going to add that into our pocket. And now I decided to go ahead and just add this paper. It's on cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and tuck it under the both moldings of the candy cane and the gingerbread, and I'm using Mod Podge to attach that piece. Now here it is so far. Now I'm going to come in with this bow, and this ribbon is from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to just come in with some little Christmas tree branches here that I ripped off from an old wreath. I'm coming in now with just a little dot of glue and make a glue dot there. Now, of course, I'm going to come in and distress all this paper. It's a little too bright and new here, and I'm using that distress ink pad and my finger just to kind of work all that product into that paper and age it up there. Now I'm gonna have to let the molding and everything dry, but I'm trying to come in and make these little glue dots that I put on here look a little bit more metal, a little bit more brassy, or whatever comes out here. So I'm going ahead and paint those glue dots with our first layer of like a silver, and then I'm just gonna tie my twine at the top. So I wanted to add a little extra here to this pocket, so I come in with the Farmhouse Bakery and on just regular paper, printer paper, and I'm just going to go ahead and Mod Podge that onto our little pocket here. And mind you, the moldings are still drying, and you see that I added a little glue buttons there as well to that. And then I'm going over the bakery sign with some more Mod Podge. So I apologize here, I lost some footage, my camera was not on, but I came in with some red and just went over the little outfit And I came in with the DIY color marquee, and I added the little wording in on the pocket. It says Farmer's Bakery on it with some Mod Podge, and the little buttons I added some gold. Moving on to project number 2. For this project, I found this tin in my stash, and it looks like it's already painted black. It's just a can, and we're going to go ahead and upcycle it using the same ginger and spice moldings and coming in with our paper clay. Now for this one, I decided to use the larger gingerbread guy here and the little girl gingerbread, and I believe the little Scotty dog also. So I'm going to come in and use my mold here and my air dry clay and just press that clay into the moldings and come up with all 3 of those pieces. To glue all the pieces on, I'm coming in with the Gorilla Wood glue. And for our first layer here, I'm going to go ahead and come in with that same khaki color and paint the can and around the edges and a little bit of the molding here. For the second layer here, I'm coming back in with that linen white, or the vintage antique white actually, from folk art, and I'm just going to add this to our second layer. And once again, I'm not doing full coverage because there is going to be so many layers here that it's not going to matter. Well, at least to me it's not anyway. So I'm just going to continue covering this can up, and I come in now with just some cinnamon from your cabinet, and I'm just going to come in and add that cinnamon wherever I felt like it wanted it or needed it, just to kind of give it a little bit of a rust and textured look here. And then I'm coming in and adding more wherever I need to. Now my brush is still full of that same color, the antique white in folk art, and I just have a little bit of it on the side as well, just to dip a little bit of my brush in there, so that can help blend and stick that cinnamon on. Now I know Distress ink is not a permanent ink, but I am coming in here and kind of just adding this Distress ink pad wherever I want, because what I do like is once you put like your sealer on top, like I use Big Top, and once I start adding that onto it, it kind of smears that ink, and it kind of does give you more of a rust look, and that's what I like about this ink pad in the color and that effect that I'm going with after I apply the sealer and have that smear everywhere. And then I'm just gonna randomly add it wherever I want, you know, going down, going sideways onto the ridges of the tin. So this is where we're at so far, and I'm sure don't think that the clay here is dry yet, and I'm just working with it as is, just blending that in. And I'm gonna come in here now with some dark wax, I believe, and I want to outline a little bit of the images here, just to like make them pop out a little bit more. They're kind of blending into the can, and I want the image to be more defined there. So I'm just going to come in with some DIY dark wax, and I'm just going to go ahead and go around all the edges of all 3 pieces and highlight it and dingy up around them so that they pop, like I said. So here's where I come in with that Big Top and seal in the whole piece, blending in that Distress ink and let it run wherever it wants to, just to add a little bit more rust. Now what I should have did is just pour some of this Big Top into a little container so I don't contaminate my whole thing here, but I did not, and I'm just going for it, I guess. And but it is wise to go ahead and add a separate container so that when you do other projects, you don't have a mess in your sealant and adding colors you don't want to a project that you don't want those colors to. Now I don't know if you can see how the distressed ink kind of ran into everything, but once you look at the can closer, you can tell that that's what happened. Now here is our can all completed. Now I did drill holes on the side because I thought I was going to come in and add a handle, but I decided not to because I couldn't get it really to work the way I want. And I left all the cracks and little imperfections all up in the clay. But I'm going to go ahead and add a tree to this piece. And I'm coming in with my packing paper just to add some height to that. And then this is a tree I had from last year, and it is a Hobby Lobby tree. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half, just cut off the top because that's the part I want to use. So basically I got 2 trees for the price of 1 here. And I'm going to go ahead and add this piece into our container. Now I do the same method as I do for all my other floral, is I wrap that paper around the base just so that these are easier to take apart and change out things if you want to change them out. But I decide to take off that fabric, that burlap fabric from the bottom of the other part of the tree and add it to this because I wanted some fabric kind of like hanging out of the top layer. Now I come in with this little filler, fall filler I guess it is, and I wanted the pine cone and a little bit of greenery just to add to the top there. And I go ahead and glue those pieces in. Now when you take it out, it'll all come out all together because it's hooked to the tree and to the fabric. Now I'm going to come in and add a tag, and I just come in with some Christmas paper that I had on hand, and it's just like a brown paper that has a little bit of Christmas design or writing on it. And if you got anything from me last year, I packaged some of this orders that I had in this paper for Christmas. But I'm coming in here with just a ink pen or a paint pen here, and I just write Merry Christmas on the tag after distressing it. But I'm not sure if I really like it, so I might come in and change it. There it is, just a simple tag that says Merry Christmas. And off camera I go ahead and add a red little bow to the side of this also, and wherever I punch that hole in is where I'm going to be adding that tag. And then I add a little bit of hot glue so that the tag lands on the spot that I want it to. And hindsight, I don't think I needed to add all the gingerbreads there. You mainly only see the big guy in the front, but you can just turn it whichever way you want. Moving on to project number 3, and this is just a simple upcycle. I have this teacup, and it's just thrown in my stash. It's just a vintage little teacup with a little flower at the bottom, but I'm gonna add this little bottle brush tree to it. And I'm sorry I'm off camera here, but I found this ribbon in my stash also, and I go ahead and cut 2 pieces, one to go one way and one to go the other way, so I wrap the piece thoroughly and some of that red is peeking through. Now you remember at the beginning I made this little tag from our little scraps of our packaging from the molding, so I'm just gonna go ahead and trim up a piece, make it smaller, and add that to our little handle here. Now I put in the twine, and then I come in and add just a little tiny little key that I got from Temu that I use for junk journaling, and we're gonna go ahead and add that key there with a little bit of hot glue. And then once I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and tie that to the handle there. Now I thought the tree was a little bit off balance or a little bit too light there, so I went ahead and added some moss And I'm just coming in and making like a little nest here for the tree to rest in. And I'm going to add some hot glue at the bottom, and then I'm going to glue that tree into that moss. And then I'm not going to glue it to the teacup because once again, I like the projects to be able to change out for the seasons, and you can just take off the tree and the tag. And here are our finished products. You guys can catch me live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time over on my Facebook business page. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.